Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Ukraine is a democracy. Russia is a dictatorship. It's autocratic. Therefore, all good people support the democracy over the autocracy. Right? Right. Everyone's been telling us that. Adam Kinzinger crying again the other day. Oh, it's a democracy. So it's worth looking into, like, what exactly is Ukraine like? What's its government like? Well, it turns out it's not a democracy. It's run by a dictator who's friends with everyone in Washington. Doesn't make him less of a dictator. How do you know he's a dictator? Because the main opposition figure is now under arrest, and the opposition media, the TV stations, have been shut down by the government. That's not how a democracy operates. That's how a dictatorship operates. And it should make you very nervous that Joe Biden and Susan Rice and that National Security Advisor kid, they're all telling us with a straight face, Liz Cheney too, it's a democracy.
It is a democracy. They have free and fair elections in Ukraine. And I don't know what is making half of our media, if not more, pro-Russia. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out, but it's happening all over platforms. Okay, so this guy, I don't know how many of you actually remember him or know him or can recall that, you know, he was ever a part of a program that became a channel, the Young Turks, right? That is a fairly liberal organization of, Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparin. And they had a cast of characters that were, all reporters or all, talking heads on that channel, okay? It was like an Air America, and then it was the Young Turks. And okay. So this guy peeled off from the people who actually made him known to some people in this country. And now he is a complete and total mouthpiece for Putin, telling his liberal progressive audience, and he claims that he is a liberal. He claims that he is more progressive than anybody, that Putin is the hero in all of this 1 year later.
This is a war that was started and provoked by NATO and the West.
What?
Zelensky ran on peace, but he didn't do it. So why? Because he got threatened by NATO and the ultra-right, the Nazis in Ukraine.
What?
And so they threatened to kill. He knows he's a dead man if he does a peace deal with Russia. So that's why he won't. Russia is the one that wants peace in this deal, and Ukraine and NATO do not. They want to bleed Russia economically, and that's why they blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. I can't get why the European nations are going along with this. There was the foreign minister of Germany said, I don't care about my people if they don't want this. I care about the people of Ukraine. What leader of a country says they don't care about their own people, but they care more about somebody else's country? NATO has provoked this. In fact, there was a peace agreement in 2014. The CIA helped overthrow the Ukraine government. And then the people in the Donbass didn't want to go along with this coup government, right? Because the leader of Ukraine wanted to be friendlier economically with Russia instead of join like the European Union. And that they couldn't have that, right? So that's why they did a coup. And the people, the Russian speakers in the Donbass didn't want to go along with that coup. They kind of wanted to break away. Ukraine government started shelling the Donbass. And so they had a peace agreement called the Minsk Agreement. And that was supposed to give them independence. They were supposed to have their own elections, and they were going to stop shelling them. They never did. They ended up killing like 14 or 15,000 people in the Donbass. Merkel, the former prime minister of Germany, just admitted that the only reason they did that peace agreement was to give Ukraine enough time to build up its military, so when they finally did provoke an invasion, which is what they did, that they would have a military ready to fight Russia.
So according to Jimmy there, that's his name, Jimmy, according to Jimmy Dore, the Ukrainians made Russia attack them by air, by sea, and by land. The Ukrainians forced Russia to attack Ukraine. And that Russia is really all about peace, and Ukraine is really not. Now, you got mercenaries that are being taken right out of Russian prisons. You've got mercenaries that are being taken out of Chechen prisons. You've got a history with Vladimir Putin of invading his neighbors, not just Chechnya, which is part of Russia, and Georgia, which, he considers to be, a satellite nation of Russia that had now he wants Moldova. Now he wants Belarus, okay? And he wants Ukraine too. And it's because they are all about peace. And apparently Chechnya made Putin attack them to the point where he just destroyed Grozny. I mean, he just destroyed it. Syria made Putin attack them with chemical weapons and barrel bombs and attack their hospitals and attack their kindergartens and attack their elementary schools. Syria made Putin do that, but Putin wants peace. Apparently, Ukraine also made Russia attack them because Russia really wants peace. I mean, what is wrong with people? How do you listen to this crap and say, yeah, this is real progressive, thinking. This is deep thinking. This is real fact-based stuff. I mean, the people who are being sacrificed at the altar of Putin's power quest, his salivating over a country that he doesn't believe should exist. Putin doesn't believe Georgia should exist. He doesn't believe Chechnya should be Muslim or choose their own religion. Same with Dagestan and Afghanistan, which also the Soviet Union invaded way back in 1979, pre-Putin. I'll give you that, but. Because they're the peace wagers. They're the peacemongers, right? Russia is. So now what Putin has is an army that's made up, convicts make up about 80% of the soldiers in the Wagner mercenary group. Now, I don't know what the other 20% is, but these cannot be happy people, okay? But they're doing this. The mercenaries are taking people out of prisons because Putin and Prigozhin want peace. They're the peacemongers. They're the peacemakers. What? And they actually sit there and say this with a straight face, and people send them money, which I just blows my mind, really. It truly does. It's insane. These convict soldiers couldn't be more like cannon fodder if the Russians sent them to the front lines wearing orange jumpsuits, right? And with bullseyes on their back. And that's what they're doing. They're sending them in human waves of, because they won't equip them and they won't train them. So they send these convicts into places where, like Bakhmut, that's the latest battle that's going on, right? And they'll send them into Bakhmut to draw out Ukrainian fighters, right? So then they know the positions of the Ukrainian fighters. And these guys are literally being sacrificed at the altar of Putin wanting, Bakhmut. So honestly, if that's your way of making peace, I could live without it. Jimmy.
And so people don't know this is what happened. And so they just think that one day Putin woke up and said, I want to go invade Ukraine because I'm a maniac. And they think that he's the bad guy. They think that he's acting rationally. We always knew he would do this. In fact, we were counting on him doing this. That's why we did what we did. And they don't know that Ukraine ramped up their bombing right before the war started last year.
What?
They doubled their bombing. They were really trying to provoke it. And they did. And they provoked it. And the Russian would rather have a peace agreement. The rest of the world would rather have a peace agreement. Not NATO, not Joe Biden, not the military-industrial complex. And so that's where we are.
You're a sick man. Something really awful has happened to you morally. I don't know if it's money that actually, made you say, there's more money over here than there is over there. I'm going to tell people what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear, because even though that's what I said I was about, I make more money the other way. I have no idea what's going on. But, Russia doesn't want peace. You understand that, right? You understand that. Russia is about to insist that they take a section of Moldova. Russia is about to insist that Belarus is Russian. And he's going to bomb Ukraine until he runs out of bombs. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.